Thank you, Dr. Shrish, for giving me the opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody. I have slight problem in uploading my presentation here, so probably I will be showing the videos separately from my presentation. The incorporated videos are not running. I will try to stick to my topic. That's a comparison between the different graft fixation techniques in conjunctival autografting surgery. I have no financial interest to disclose. Current management of pterygium surgery is conjunctival autografting because of its low recurrence rate and safety measures. This is the first video of conjunctival autografting that we do. Once you have excised the pterygium, you create a bare area, and then accordingly you mark the donor area with a slight oversized graft. Try to take a thin graft as much as possible, tenon free. You can use the radiofrequency knife if it is available. And if you want to include the limbal stem cells in your graft, you have to go 0.5 to 1 millimeter inside clear cornea, though it is not mandatory. And now the graft is ready for fixation by the side of your bare area. Now how would you like to fix it? The conventional procedures are graft fixation with sutures and graft fixation with fibrin glue. Now in the fibrin glue category, suture category, you can have a H0 vicryl suture. You can have a running continuous H0 vicryl suture. You start at one end, giving one interrupted knot at one limbal end, and then go to the other limbal end, and from there you start your running continuous suture. And then come back to the first end and put the final knot here. The advantage here is that you will have only two knots. Similarly, if you do this with an interrupted suture, that you can do with a monofilament nylon, tenon nylon. The disadvantage of monofilament nylon or any interrupted suturing is that you will end up with multiple knots, which will increase the postoperative inflammation, and thereby it may increase the recurrence rate also. So the disadvantages of suturing is that it will have a prolonged surgical time with more postoperative discomfort, exaggerated symptoms in the postoperative period, thereby increasing the inflammation and the higher recurrence rate. Two components of the glue, one is the fibrinogen, the other is the thrombin, and you apply that fibrinogen part on the bare area and the thrombin part on the undersurface of the graft, and then reverse the graft over the bare area, and it takes hardly 30 seconds to get a post. So glue overcomes all the disadvantages of suturing, but it has got its own disadvantage, like the high cost, and it has got the potential transmission fear of anaphylaxis and viral disease transmission, and it is biodegradable. That means you have to use it within 3 hours to 4 hours from its making. So how does it act? From our medical college study, we know the human coagulation process, the latter half of the human coagulation process, where the fibrin monomer or fibrin clot is prepared by the interaction of prothrombin and thrombin. There are now enough studies to show that glue is superior over suture for graft fixation, and even the recurrence rate can be minimized with the application of glue. Now I am going to show you one innovative procedure of graft fixation, which we have termed as auto blood. Here, once you have excised the pterygium tissue and the pterygium and the overlying conjunctiva, the bare area has been created. Now you allow a thin film of blood clot to be get adhered over the bare area. If there is not enough bleeding during the surgery, very rarely, you can puncture a scleral blood vessel to induce bleeding also. Then again you take a slightly oversized tenon-free graft from the opposite superior quadrant, and now using that blood clot as your glue, you just flip over the graft over that blood clot and oppose the edge of the donor tissue with the recipient conjunctiva at various points with tooth and non-tooth forceps. So this is a prospective data of an ongoing study at our institute, where we have compared the three techniques of graft fixation. We have compared the mean surgical time, the recurrence rate, and the subjective symptoms. In the mean surgical time, glue fixation is the fastest surgery, and autoblad technique is faster than graft, faster than suturing, and the recurrence rate is autoblad and glue are at par, and it is better than suturing technique. And the subjective symptoms of pain, foreign body sensation, watering and redness drastically reduce in the autoblad and glue technique than suturing. So to summarize, the success of graft fixation with this innovative autoblad technique depends on using a very thin film of blood clot as tissue adhesive. All active bleeding points should be stopped by direct tamponading. You need a slightly oversized and tenon-free thin graft so that there is not graft retraction postoperatively. Graft positioning requires 3 to 5 minutes, which is more than glue fixation. Glue fixation hardly takes 30 seconds to 1 minute. And I prefer perivalvular anesthesia and eye patching for 6 hours, which reduce the lead movement, so the graft takes a better stabilization in the initial period. So to conclude, whether heme or autoblad technique is superior to glue? No. Glue is definitely the fastest surgery in graft fixation, and cosmetic wise also glue is much superior than the autoblad technique. Autoblad technique, in the initial 3 to 4 days or 7 days, the graft is very reddish. There is always subconjunctival hemorrhage because there is fibrinolysis going on. Only we can say that autoblad technique is superior to suture, and it overcomes the disadvantages that the glue still has. That means it is not costly, it is not biodegradable, and it does not have the potential threats of disease carrier or anaphylactic. So it can be a good alternative to glue, where glue is not ever available. Thank you.